Gotta Love Connecticut Hockey had the chance to sit down with Keith Allain, head coach of the Yale University men's ice hockey team. A Yale graduate himself, Keith played professionally in Sweden and held multiple coaching and scouting roles in the NHL before returning to his alma mater to lead the Bulldogs to victory. Let's meet the coach. Thank you for joining us, Keith. How are you today?
I'm great, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice and warm in here, which is a change for an ice rink.
Yeah, this is usually very, very cold, so I like it at this temperature.
It is. So I just wanted to kind of jump in. How did you get your start in hockey? I know you come from a really big hockey family, and then how did you start playing goalie?
I do come from a really big family. I have 6 brothers. My dad was an immigrant from Canada, from Moncton, New Brunswick. We grew up in Worcester, Massachusetts, and his company, the Norton Company, sponsored the local youth hockey program. So he got all the boys playing, and he was our coach early on, and we just loved it. Then our goalie quit. My dad was the coach.
Okay.
And nobody wanted to play goal, and so I was the only one he could make play goal. And so I became a goaltender at age 10. I think I've been playing for about 2 years at that time.
Oh, wow, okay. So I know that after graduating from college here at Yale, which is your alma mater, that you went on to play 2 years in Sweden. Tell me a little bit about going pro in Sweden.
It was a wonderful opportunity for me. I actually had a chance to go to the Winnipeg Jets camp, but I'd already signed this contract in Sweden, and it was actually life-changing because I met my wife over there, and my middle daughter was born in Sweden. I played in a town just outside of Stockholm. It was a very high level of hockey. I was having a wonderful time, and then early in my second season I hurt my shoulder and ended up having to get what was career-ending surgery at the time, so that's why I only played 2 years.
You had that career-ending injury. You went right into coaching. Tell me, what really made you decide you wanted to be a coach?
With my Yale degree, and I was one of the first people from my family to ever graduate from college, so I thought that I should get a real job. And I actually took a Procter & Gamble recruited here at Yale, and I took a management training job at Procter & Gamble when I came home that summer. Tim Taylor, my coach, had asked me to come coach with him, and I said, I think I need to get a job. And I worked with Procter & Gamble for 3 weeks, and I realized my heart was not going to be in this. So I called Coach Taylor back and said, you still got the position, I'll come coach with you. So I left a pretty good job to be Tim's second assistant at $6,000 a year.
Seems like a pretty good deal, though. I mean, it's exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it worked out in the long run. I was back here at Yale. I was working under one of the best coaches in America, a well-respected man. One of the difficult parts is I was coaching players that I played with, which was kind of a unique experience, but it was a good experience.
So I know that before you had actually become the head coach here for the men's team, that you actually were an assistant coach, I believe, for the Washington Capitals and the goalie coach for the St. Louis Blues. Tell me a little bit about your time in the NHL.
I coached here for 3 years, and then my wife and I worked our way back to Sweden, and while I was coaching in Sweden, I started scouting the Washington Capitals. And then at the end of each year, they'd say, would you be interested in coming to Washington as our goaltending coach? And I said, no, I'm coaching my own team here, I'm fine. And then I was doing some stuff with USA Hockey, actually worked with the Olympic team in 1992 as an assistant coach. And then Washington said, well, will you come be an assistant coach with the Caps? So we moved up the family and came back here to Washington and worked in a great organization with really good people. It was a wonderful experience. And then we got fired after 4 years, and I spent a year with the Nashville Predators, actually helping them put their franchise together. And then from there I went to the St. Louis Blues. And once again, it was really good people. Larry Blow was the general manager, Joel Quenville was our head coach, and it was a great learning experience for me, and it was also a wonderful time for my family.
Of course, I mean, getting to move around a little bit can always be a little hard, but they get to go to some pretty cool places.
Yeah, they did, and whenever they came to the game, the kids were treated very, very well.
Can't complain.
No.
So just tell me a little bit of the difference between coaching for NHL versus college.
There are actually more similarities than there are differences because the players are so highly motivated and they just want to get better. The difference really for me was that the players, it was their paycheck. And so there was a different kind of pressure on the line for them, different stresses, and obviously the 80-game schedule really could be quite a grind. As much as you love to play the game, seeing these guys, what they went through from training camp through the playoffs and what it did to them mentally and physically, our season's a lot more acceptable.
Now, when you came into Yale and to become officially the head coach, you are only the 3rd Yale graduate to have done this, and you are also the first to do it since 1938, which is a huge accomplishment. What was it like?
Yeah, I didn't think of it in those terms, and to be quite honest with you, I wasn't looking at college hockey. I liked doing what I was doing. I said I was working with wonderful people. I would not have come back to college hockey if it wasn't Yale. I mean, Yale meant so much to me as a person and a player. I had a wonderful experience here for my 4 years as a student, and then the 3 years I was back as an assistant coach. I said it when we won the national championship, and I meant it. I wanted to prove that you could go to the best university in the world and play hockey at the absolute highest level. So I was really excited to get going.
You did it successfully. What's it like to be at your alma mater? Is it tougher, easier maybe as a coach?
I think it's easier. I understand what the players are going through, the different demands on them socially, academically, in addition to the hockey. And they know that I understand, and so right away there was this kind of a connection. Coming back here, I sat out here for the press conference the day I took the job, and I hadn't been in Ingles Rink in 20 years, and I felt like I felt when I was a player here. It's a pretty special thing.
Now I know last year your team had won the national championship, which is incredible. I see you have your championship ring on today. You went up against another team in Connecticut. I mean, that's kind of incredible, literally right down the road practically from here. What was it like to go up against another Connecticut school?
It probably meant a lot more to the people outside than us in the locker room. For us, we were competing for a national championship, but it was really cool for what it did for the hockey community here in Connecticut. Everywhere people knew it was Yale, QPAC, and it was a local competition, and there were 10 or 12 miles between the schools. I think that energy around the game made it a little bit more fun for the guys.
What did your team have that year specifically that helped them get to that victory?
I think the two things that stand out to me is how close they were as a group. I mean, there was really a special bond in that locker room, and the trust was exceptional. And that trust led to a certain confidence. And then we had great senior leadership, which probably developed that bond within the hockey team and our senior class. For us to be successful, our upperclassmen have to be really good, and we have to get better each year we get here, and that group epitomized that.
What are you doing to get your team kind of back into that swing of things so that you can kind of get that chance again?
First and foremost, we have to bring in the best student athletes we can find that qualify here academically, that understand the demands that Yale has, and then we have to try to get better every day. You know, for us as a program, we believe firmly in practice, and our guys understand that, and we just try to get a little better each and every day, and hopefully come playoffs, we're the best team around.
Now, Yale is obviously one of the huge powerhouses of the country for hockey, but it's also top of the line Ivy League. What do you look for in your student athletes?
Obviously, they have to be able to be qualified to gain admission here to Yale, and that's very, very demanding. Our admission standards are as high as any school in the country, probably the world. From the hockey side, there's a certain skill set that's required to play at our level. We play a fast, up-tempo game. You have to be able to skate and think quickly on the ice, and then we really value competitiveness here. You know, I'm looking for guys that have an impact on their game at their level, and that you can just see that they're driven to win and get better.
Now, for advice for just the people that watch the show, the kids and the parents, what advice do you have for them that are thinking, you know, my youth player really wants to get higher up in the ranks? What can they do?
I think it's great to have a goal and to have a long-range plan, but to me the most important thing is that you're having fun today.
Agreed.
I mean, I think you're playing the best game in the world, hopefully with your best friends, maybe traveling around, doing different things together, and I think if you're having fun each and every day, playing as well as you can play, whatever level you're at, then your goals will be fulfilled.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashley.